Good evening from me in the UK. It's 6:30 p.m. and I thought I'd jump on and give you the fourth part of our intuitive goal creation, our manifest anything fast, creating that incredible vision that's going to really help our subconscious get in alignment and with our intuition, and it's going to start driving us towards the goals we want to achieve. So what we want to do is today we want to think about the goal we want to achieve. Okay, so you will remember last time we had our gold standard memory, the perfect memory, where it's more about the feeling that you hold within that memory. That's what we're focusing on there. And today we will be projecting that feeling into a vision, and it's really important to have that emotional connection with your vision. So that is why we're doing it this way. But first, we need to work out what our vision is. And what we do is we actually create like a future memory, if you like. We call it a meta story. And again, it's a moment in time. Like that past memory was a moment in time that you're capturing. This is going to be one that you create, right? So it's like a future memory. It hasn't actually happened, but your subconscious doesn't know the difference. Okay, this is why we do it this way. So for example, I'll give you my goal. Okay, so my goal in a nutshell is I want to make £10,000 by the end of July. Now that's probably around $15,000. So that's what my goal is. And the reason I can actually go fairly high with that is because I've obviously had months where I've made, 5-figure income. So, for me, that's not a big stretch because I've done it before. I know I can do it and I can do it again. And I've done this process before, so I really trust in the process that it will work for me. So I don't have kind of those blocks about that particular goal. But what I want to do is actually project forwards to the moment that I make that income, that I create that income, that it comes to me and it's been brought into my reality. So, when we write out our vision, we do it in the present tense. So, for example, I will say it's the end of July. It's a beautiful, bright, sunny day, and I'm in my lounge and I'm, enjoying a bit of shade actually because it's that hot. I just want to keep myself nice and cool. So I'm just painting a picture here because that's what we want to do. We want to paint a picture like a little movie. So I'm sat in my lounge and probably fanning myself a bit, going, it's a bit hot. And I get a notification on my phone that I've got a commission and I've hit my goal, okay, of the 15K. And maybe I've got a glass of water. But what I really want to do is just immerse myself in what that would look like. And I'm overjoyed. I'm absolutely overjoyed. I've hit my goal. This is a really great result for me and my family. And moving forward, it's going to make my life a lot easier. So I have this feeling of joy. And I don't know if you remember, but with the past memory, okay, I said, you want to capture that feeling and maybe even assign like a color or a symbol to that so that you can kind of put it, colors are quite easy because you can just kind of put that around. As I said, I kind of had this golden glow around my memory of holding my son for the first time. So you could kind of put that golden glow around we call it a meta story, around your meta story. Okay. So when you're creating this, so first of all, okay, let's talk about the specific goal. Maybe the goal is I quit my job. Maybe the goal is I make $5,000. Whatever it is, we just want to look at how that feels. And if it's say you're saying, oh, I want to make 10,000, but all of a sudden you get this kind of, ooh, you know, something uncomfortable, something happens in the body from the neck down, you're hitting a block. And this is where I talked about earlier, we want to navigate around those blocks. So maybe you would need to drop the value slightly, because you want it to be believable and achievable to yourself. So if you feel that tension anywhere in your body when you're going through it, then maybe you just need to bring it down slightly until it feels comfortable, and yes, I can achieve that. And it doesn't matter, even if it's only $1,000, you know, if it's going to be the first 1,000 you make online, then it's still significant, and it's something you can build on then, because once you've done it once, then you know the process works and you can do it again. And I've, like I say, I've used this successfully a couple of times, and when I go into the details of what you have to do once you have this meta story in your head, you'll understand why there is quite a lot of work involved in you know, convincing your subconscious that this is the way you want to go. But we'll cover that tomorrow. So when you create this meta story, I want you to think of certain things. You know, where are you? Where are you? What can you hear? What's going on around you? You know, the weather. Is it a hot day? Is it a cold day? You know, what else is going on in your environment that's going to make up that memory, that moment? What else is going on? Because we want to bring it to life. And this is really, really important, to bring it to life. And yes, the overall result of this has to feel good. It has to feel achievable and believable, and that you're not getting any of that resistance come up in your body. So as I gave earlier, you know, you just want to kind of paint the picture. So, you know, so I said, you know, I'm sat in my lounge. It's a really, really hot day, so I'm just enjoying a cold drink. And my phone, you know, it goes ping, and I look at it, and I've made a commission. I've hit my target of $15,000 or £10,000 in my case. And I feel absolutely overjoyed. I go and hug my husband and say, yes, we've done it. And I feel really good about it. And that is it. That's all it is to it. It's capturing that moment when you hit it. So you write it in the present tense. This is happening right now. And I want you to imagine how it would feel for you to, you know, reach whatever your goal is in that moment. And like I say, if you get that kind of, something's not quite right, then you need to rewrite it, and you maybe need to change something in it that so it feels good eventually when you get it. Only needs to be a few lines, a paragraph, but you're just capturing it so that every time you look at it, every time you read it, you're playing a picture in your mind. You can see it in your mind. You can see this happening. And then we are taking that perfect memory emotion and we're transposing it. Okay, so if you're thinking, I don't know how this feels, then you need to kind of go back and you need to think, oh yeah, that's the feeling I want to have with this vision. Okay, so you might need to rewrite it a few times. You might need to rework it just to get it so it's absolutely right for you. And that's what I want to encourage you to do. So picture it in your mind and write it down. And tomorrow will be the final step, and we will cover what you do next. All right, so your task for today is to take that vision, turn it into a future memory that this is happening right now. Get that feeling from the past and transpose it into your meta story, your future memory. Okay. And, you know, use the color as well, if that helps. If that helps, just bring all that feeling into one place. And then sit with it for a while. You know, close your eyes, picture it, read it out to yourself. And actually, that is quite important. You know, reading it out, it kind of brings it forward into more of a reality. And so I'm really happy I'm doing this with you guys, because I'm doing it too, because I really want to hear this. You can share your goals if you want to. You don't have to, okay? You don't have to if you'd rather just keep it to yourself. Now, just to give you a little bit of history, the first time I did this, I hadn't even heard of the Super Affiliate Network. I was actually in a different affiliate opportunity. And I set myself a goal of making $5,000 in a month. And no, it was around a 6-week period. I think I wrote my meta story middle of March, and my goal was for the end of April to have hit or to have made $5,000 online. Bearing in mind, I hadn't made any money online at that point, and I was actually at a point where I thought, I'm kind of desperate now. I really need to start making this money, otherwise I'm going to have to go back to work. And that's where I was at. And so sure enough, and in actual fact, I'd got nearly to the end of April. I was about a week away. It was around the 23rd of April that I joined the Super Affiliate Network. And within about 2 weeks, I'd made that $5,000. Now, it actually overshot my my goal. I'd set my deadline for the end of April, and I think it was around the 7th or 8th of May that I hit that goal. But I'm not going to argue about that. I mean, that was absolutely fine for me. But by the end of April, I started to see the momentum, of what was happening, and I could see how it was going to happen. But the point I want to make with that is you have to let go of how it's going to happen. It might not be with what you're doing now, because I was in a completely different opportunity. I'd never heard of the Super Affiliate Network. I'd only spoken to Ace and Rich the day before that I signed up, and that was the first I'd ever heard of them. So I just want you to bear that in mind, that it could be something that just comes in and you kind of go, and even actually, I just remember at the time, it didn't really occur that this was actually fitting in with what I was doing. It just happened that way. And that might be the way it happens for you, is when you start seeing the money rolling in, that you go, oh, that was how it was supposed to happen, not what I had thought. So we really have to let go of the how. We have to start following, the stuff that starts coming through. And actually, if you see an opportunity, you kind of go, okay, don't overthink it. Always go with that kind of intuitive gut feeling. If something feels good, then go with it. But tomorrow, what we're going to do next is, it's the hard work part, is we're going to get this vision so deeply embedded in our subconscious that we can't help but for it to work for us, and that we're going to start moving towards that goal in a quite rapid way. I would say don't set your deadline too far off. You want it to be reasonable, but you want it to be achievable, and you want it to happen, on a reasonable timescale. You don't want to be waiting 6 months for something to come into fruition. So think of all of those things, and you can write that down. And one thing I have forgotten, that once you've written it down the once, there is a little caveat that you have to put in, and it's, please make this happen for the highest. I should have written this down before I came on the live. Please make this happen for the highest good of myself and everybody involved. So it's just like there's no negative mojo involved. It's for everybody's highest good that what you're doing happens. And that is it. And then we'll meet again tomorrow, or if you're watching the replay, whenever that may be, for the final part, so that you understand how we get this embedded into our subconscious. If you have any questions, just pop a comment. I'll also pop the written version of this into the comments as well for you guys, so you've got that as a backup as well. And yes, I'll look forward to seeing you then, and take care. Have a good evening. Good night.